Imagine you're about to make a decision that will completely change your life. Think of something that seems simple, even romantic, but could turn into one of the biggest mistakes a man can make. Today, we're going to talk about a silent but real phenomenon that only about 5% of men seem to have understood: the value of not marrying a single mother. And I want you to stay until the end, because the last revelation is the most powerful of all, and can completely change the way you see relationships. Before we move on, subscribe to the Black Pill Femme channel, leave a like, comment your opinion, and share this video. What we are about to expose here can open your eyes to truths that most people prefer to ignore. Only those who understand this can truly see how the dynamics of relationships really work. Now, think with me. Why has only a small minority of men realized this reality? Critical red pill authors, like Rollo Tomassi in The Rational Male, especially in Chapter 10, pages 5 to 8, already point out how the current cultural system pressures men to accept savior roles in relationships. A woman, by becoming a single mother, not only loses sexual attractiveness in the eyes of most men, but also brings with her an emotional and social package that many ignore until it's too late. Marrying a single mother means taking on responsibilities that are not yours, such as investing time, energy, and even resources in a child who doesn't share your blood. This choice carries deep consequences, both emotional and practical. The traditional red pill often normalizes the idea that a man should take on this position, but is that right? Does it condition men to believe that their value lies in carrying burdens that aren't theirs? Think about it. Have you ever seen a cultural movement demanding that women sacrifice themselves in this way for men in equivalent situations? The answer is no. And here's the first big reflection I want you to have. A man who enters a marriage with a single mother is, in practice, surrendering a part of his own autonomy. He is, consciously or not, entering a relationship where a third element will always exist: the child of another man, who will have emotional priority over him. This doesn't mean an absence of love or affection, but a silent hierarchy that puts him in second place from day one. If you have noticed this pattern, comment below. I want to know if you also see how only a small minority manages to escape this cultural trap. As we deepen this issue, we need to understand why so many men still fall into the trap of marrying single mothers. The answer is not just in individual feelings, but in a social engineering that molds the male mind from an early age. From a young age, men are taught to believe that their greatest value is to be a provider, protector, and savior. This mentality, described pointedly by Esther Vilar in The Manipulated Man, Chapter 3, pages 42 to 47, creates a cycle where a man feels guilty if he doesn't take on responsibilities that do not belong to him. Now, imagine this scenario. A woman, already with children, seeks a new relationship. The dominant narrative is that the man who accepts her is mature, responsible, and even heroic. But is he really being valued? Or is he being manipulated by a system that puts him in a position of investment without a real return? This is the reflection that only 5% of men have made, and precisely because of that, they have escaped the trap. The central point is to understand the asymmetry. A single mother, when seeking a new relationship, is not just looking for love. She is often looking for emotional, financial, and stability support for the child who already exists. And the man who enters this context needs to understand that he will never be the absolute priority. In fact, he will be constantly reminded that there is a previous, stronger bond that shapes all the dynamics of the relationship. This is the second great revelation: marriage to a single mother is rarely about the man. It is, in large part, about the woman and the child who has already been born. And this is where the critique of the traditional red pill vision comes in. While many repeat the maxim that a man should test and filter relationships, few take into account that this type of union already starts from a structural disadvantage. The man is always behind, always in the background. Ask yourself, do you believe it is fair to invest your future in a relationship where your emotional space is already taken before you even begin? This is a reflection that I invite you to leave in the comments. We have reached a point where we need to analyze not only the practical consequences, but also the psychological impact that a marriage to a single mother can have on a man. Many scholars of gender dynamics point out that in this type of relationship, the man finds himself trapped in a constant paradox. On one hand, he is encouraged to play the role of provider, taking on financial and emotional responsibilities. On the other, he will never be recognized as the central figure. He will always be behind the biological father, even if the father is not present. Rollo Tomassi, in The Rational Male, Chapter 12, pages 220 to 225, describes this phenomenon as the strategic substitution of paternity. The man, seduced by the promise of affection and stability, is slowly molded to invest in a legacy that is not his. The woman, in this context, finds in him not just a partner, but a substitute for the role that the true father did not fulfill. And here is the big question: why do so many men accept this fate without questioning it? The answer, again, lies in cultural conditioning. Society paints the man who refuses this role as cold, selfish, or insensitive. But is it really selfish to protect your own future? Is it really wrong to question whether this emotional and financial investment will have any return? Only 5% of men have understood that, by saying no to this type of union, they are not being cruel, but rather, they are being conscious. They are protecting their vital energy and their prospects of building a genuine family, where he will be the first and true pillar. Now, I want you to imagine a concrete scene. A man marries a single mother, raises the child as his own, invests years of dedication, love, and resources. However, in a moment of crisis or separation, the woman reminds him, and even the child, that the blood bond does not exist. In an instant, everything that seemed solid falls apart, and the man realizes that he was never the true center of that story. How many have already lived this in silence? This is the third revelation. Marriage to a single mother places a man in a vulnerable position, both emotionally and legally. While taking on the responsibilities of a father, he often has no rights over the child. In disputes, he is discarded as a secondary player, and yet he will carry the burden of years of investment. This is why critical red pill analysis becomes indispensable. While many defend the idea that love is enough to sustain a relationship, reality shows that love without strategy turns into a trap. A man needs to awaken to this awareness. He needs to understand that saying no to such a situation is also saying yes to preserving his own essence. If you see this pattern, write in the comments. Do you believe it's possible to build a balanced relationship with a single mother, or is it just an illusion? So far, we have understood the first three revelations. First, by marrying a single mother, a man gives up part of his autonomy. Second, this type of union is rarely about him, but about the woman and the child who already exists. Third, this relationship places him in a state of psychological and even legal vulnerability. But now we come to the most important and powerful revelation of all. The one that only 5% of men have truly understood. Marriage to a single mother not only compromises a man's present but steals his future. Think about this carefully. When a man dedicates himself to a woman who already has children, he is, in an almost invisible way, giving up the possibility of building his own genetic and family legacy. He invests years of energy in a story that will never truly be his. And when he wakes up, it is often too late to recover the lost time. This is where the critique of the traditional red pill gains strength. While many still defend the idea that if she respects you, the past doesn't matter, critical analysis shows that the past does matter, and a lot. Esther Villar, in The Manipulated Man, Chapter 5, pages 103 to 110, already warned that society manipulates men into serving interests that are not their own, masking the sacrifice as a virtue. In this context, marrying a single mother is one of the greatest examples of this. The man believes he is being noble, when in fact he is just being functional for the system. Now ask yourself, would you like to reach 50, look back, and realize that you invested your life in children who don't carry your blood, while never having the chance to fully experience being a true father? This is the point that separates the 5% from the other 95%. It's not about despising women with children, but about understanding that life is made of strategic choices. And choosing to protect your future is a sign of consciousness, not coldness. There is an even deeper detail. In many cases, when a man gets involved with a single mother, the relationship dynamic already starts with an imbalance. He enters with responsibility, but not with the same power of choice. The woman already selected the previous man to father the child, and now she selects this new man to sustain continuity. This shows how the nature of female hypergamy, described by Rollo Tomassi in The Rational Male, Chapter 8, pages 150 to 160, continues to operate even after motherhood. The man is chosen not for who he is, but for what he can offer at that moment. This is the last and most powerful revelation. The man who understands the value of not marrying a single mother is not just avoiding problems in the present. He is preserving the chance to build his own legacy, to live the full experience of forming a genuine family where he is the center and not an accessory. This awareness is rare, and that's why only 5% of men possess it. Now I want to know your opinion. Do you believe that men who reject this type of marriage are truly cold? Or are they the only ones who have awakened to reality? Leave your comment. If you watched this far, write, "I choose my own legacy." I want to see who really understood the message to the end. And don't forget, subscribe to the Black Pill Femme channel. Leave your like, share this video, and continue following our content. If you can, make a donation to help us continue this work. In the recommended videos on the screen, you will find complementary analyses that further expand on this reflection, showing other secrets of the critical red pill that no one has the courage to reveal. Click and watch, because the continuation of this journey will open your eyes even more.